Farm Network.
The following is a sponsored program paid for by Robin Gwaltney, Gwaltney Group, RE/MAX Results. Welcome to Rochester Real Estate, featuring Robin Gwaltney from Gwaltney Group RE/MAX Results and Andy Brownell. Here's Andy Brownell on Rochester's News Talk, 1340 KROC AM and 96.9 FM.
Good morning. Welcome to a very chilly Saturday morning. Andy Brownell along with Robin Gwaltney, Gwaltney Group RE/MAX Results here at News Talk 1340 KROC AM and 96.9 FM. Good morning, Robin.
Okay, you say chilly, I say cold.
Yeah.
Cold. I am just having a hard time warming up this morning. I had to go out and run a few errands, and I'm just I'm cold.
I don't know if this is true or not, but I heard that this is like the coldest start to December in like 75 years. Some crazy.
Well, I know it is
like
in
that.
the last 5 years for sure, but yeah, I don't doubt it. I am so lucky. You know, we had our event last Saturday. I mean, I was talking to you right before the event, and we ended up getting so lucky because it was so cold Friday, and it was so cold again on Sunday, but we had like 25 degrees on Saturday with zero wind. So we got so lucky.
Oh, yeah. Fit it right in between the weather systems.
Yeah.
Did you have a good crowd?
Oh, my gosh. We had probably over 300 people. I know we had over 100 sat on Santa's lap.
Any screamers for you on Santa's lap?
You know, not too bad. Not too bad. There were a few funny faces, but there were a few kids that their parents just couldn't get them in there at all. But, you know, they tried. Anyway, what we did decide is I was really bummed about missing the Dazzle Parade in Rochester, and I heard it was great. So I said next year we'll do the Santa and the face painter and the kids events during the daytime, but we're going to wrap it up by 4 and get our butts over to Rochester and see that parade.
Yeah, I didn't make it, but I know more than a few people who did, and they said it really went well.
They said it went from like 30 floats the first year to like 80 this year.
Yeah.
That's a big step up.
And they've got that stretch of First Avenue all lit up now and decorated.
Yes,
so
I'm in the
atmosphere.
mood. I mean, here we are. We're inside 2 weeks until Christmas, which is crazy. But, I mean, work doesn't really show that because I'm still busy at work. I've had listing appointments every day, and people are saying, should we put our house on the market now? It's just almost Christmas. And I'm like, gosh, it is just almost Christmas. This is crazy.
So what are you telling those folks?
You know what? There's a couple that we are putting on because they're just vacant townhomes kind of thing. So it's not going to disrupt anybody's life.
Sure.
But as far as people who are living in the house, and I don't know, people always want to come see when they're new listings. So it's like, why there's enough going on. You don't need to be bothered with showings and all this stuff. So I said, it can wait. So we'll be waiting on a few of them until after the holidays.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that makes perfect sense. I can't imagine, where are you going to put all this stuff? You always say stage the house, right?
Right.
And it's all decorated for the holidays.
Stage for Christmas right now. Exactly. And so I do have one little gal. She's so sweet, and she lost her husband, and she has her house all decorated for Christmas.
Oh.
And she's like, is it going to be okay if my Christmas decoration's up? I'd really like to get this one sold because, we got her into a townhome so she wouldn't be alone in the country and stuff. I said, you know what? People are going to look past your Christmas stuff. Don't even worry about it. So each situation is just going to be a little bit unique, right? And so that's why it's best just to call me, have me take a look. We'll kind of evaluate the situation. How urgent is it to get this sold quickly, or is it going to be okay? Because a lot of times financially plays a part too, right? So there's a lot of different factors, and we'll just look at the whole picture and then make a game plan. That's what I would advise.
And you always point out there's life is constantly shifting and changing, and I actually know somebody that an abrupt change happened in their life very recently, and now they're in the market to buy because they have to. They had no plans to, but things happened. A very difficult thing, but yeah.
Well. And luckily, they got shoved into the market at a good time because right now it's a really good time to be a buyer out there. We've got year over year, like if we compare November to last year, everything is up. We have more new listings. We have more inventory overall. we have higher prices. That's maybe good for the seller and maybe not for the buyer, but everything is up. And I think December's numbers are going to look really similar to that. We're going to finish the year strong for sure. And
this snow that we have hasn't really impeded things. I know you are doing showings and everything just today.
Yep. The thing about it is we do what changes is people end up taking vacation time or using their days off to go look at houses rather than using evenings, because when it's dark, it's hard enough because you can't see the yard and you can't see the neighborhood. You can't see things. But when it's dark and cold, that's usually the deal breaker. Like, okay, it's dark and cold. We're going home, putting on our sweatsuit, making dinner, staying in, right? So
you're telling me you have more evenings off?
I have more evenings off. I'm also usually home and in my sweatsuit by 6:30. So I'm not complaining. I kind of like it.
Yeah.
A nice little break.
Do you have any numbers on what's happening with the local market?
We could look at the December market report. Okay, let's take a look at that. So currently there are 139 sales pending overall, and there are currently 320 listings still for sale. So that's a pending ratio of 30%, which is even lower than I think last month was 32.9 or 30.
Yeah, that rings a bell. Yes.
Something like that. So, I mean, obviously this is a good sign for buyers because there's not a lot of buyers who have jumped back into the market. That will change. As you know, and everyone who pays attention to this knows, when the feds met on December 9th or 10th or whatever day it was, they made the decision to drop one more time, third consecutive meeting, 25 basis points. And this time we actually did see mortgage rates drop as well. So I think statewide, as of yesterday, statewide mortgage in Minnesota on a 30-year fixed was 6.1. Okay. And on a 15-year fixed was 5.5. Now, I've been seeing some banks advertising pay 3/4 of a point and we'll get you 5.875 on a 30-year fixed, or I even saw it as low as 5.75. So this is going to bring more buyers back into the market. I promise you. Write it down. Say, Robin said this is what's going to happen, because this is my bold prediction. Okay. More buyers are going to come. Prices are going to continue to go up. We're going to see more and more multiple offers. We're going to see people buying without an inspection to have the more desirable offer. We're going to start to see those things. And right now, that is not what we're seeing. Right now, people are coming out. They're making an offer, might even get a few $1,000 off, or they might get some seller's closing costs paid or some other sort of concession. So I'm not kidding you when I tell you it's a really good time to buy a house.
And you mentioned the interest rate cuts. So that's 3/4 of a point over the last three meetings. Correct. Almost a full percentage point on the prime. It takes a while for that to trickle through the economy.
Correct. And so now let that trickle through, and then let spring come upon us. All right. All at about the same time. And you just wait, because the gates will open and things will get crazy. And that's okay. I'm not complaining. I'm ready for it. Okay. We've stayed geared up. Seriously, we have stayed so busy. Our numbers are going to end up this year almost neck and neck with our numbers of our best year in the business, which was 2021, which was pretty much every agent who's been in the business a while's best year in the business, because the money was pretty much free, if you don't remember that. I mean, people were getting loans at 2.75, 2.5, 2.0. They were refinancing every loan they ever had. I mean, it was really crazy.
You know what? The trade-off wasn't worth it.
No, it really definitely wasn't. But our numbers showed it. Everybody was busy because people were buying houses like they were buying shoes. Oh, I think I'll buy one for my sister and my niece and my nephew, and I'll rent it to them and collect the rent and be their landlord. And, oh, I should have a house on the lake, maybe on this lake too. I mean, it was really crazy. But what we're seeing now is that those people they own those houses. Some of them say, you know what? I don't need this house anymore. And I got it, 3-4 years ago, and I can only sell it now for a little bit, maybe a little bit more than what I paid for it, because I paid $50,000 over its value or $60,000 over its value. So now what am I going to do? I guess I have no option but continue to rent this or whatever. So, it has put people in a pretty tough position. Some people. It wasn't worth the trade-off.
No, absolutely. Especially when you think about all the things that had an impact in our society.
Correct.
With the pandemic going on. Are we still moving? When you talk about that sweet spot for houses, we've talked about it. It's what, $300,000 to $500,000 now, I'm guessing, or $300,000 to $450,000. Yeah. Are they still moving at a fairly brisk pace?
Yeah. So in the last 6 months, a total of 966 contracts have closed, and the median sold price was $357,750. So breaking that down, the highest number of the listings is exactly between 300 and 400,000. Currently, we have 239 remaining between 300 and 400, but we're looking at like 2.6 months worth of inventory, I think. Let me look. Actually, between 300 and 400, we're looking at 1.9 months worth of inventory. 2.6 overall, but that's because, some price points are a little higher. So yeah, things are moving right along. And let me see what we have. Days on market, recent history of sales show that in the last 30 days, median sold price was $349,950 with days on market of 15 days.
That's it. 15.
That's it. So I know some people will say, oh, how are you doing, Robin? I know the real estate market isn't doing well. And I'm like, what? What are you watching? Where are you getting your information? And I don't know how many times I've had to say taking a look at the national numbers, right, and, temperature of the market is not necessarily accurate when it comes to our market. So you definitely need to talk to somebody in our market that knows our market.
Well, you think about those places where the home value shot up so insanely. I'm thinking, San Antonio, Austin, Texas, San Diego,
Scottsdale, Arizona.
Yeah, all those places. And now that's where the real estate markets are hurting right now because reality is set back in.
Well, that's what I'm talking about. They paid, they values increased 35% year over year, and they paid so much money. I think I've told this story before, but my broker owner bought a property in Scottsdale. He knew it wasn't exactly what he wanted or where he wanted to be, but he figured it would work temporary until he found what he wanted. So I think it was like $1 million even that he paid for it. And then everything went out of control. So he owned it less than 2 years and sold it for like $1,350,000. So it increased 35%. And I said, well, did you put any money into it? He goes, we had wallpaper removed from a half bath and had the walls painted. That's it.
And he made $300,000.
Yeah, $350,000. Yeah.
Goodness gracious. Well.
Yeah. But now the thing is those people that bought it could maybe now sell it for maybe what they paid for it.
Right.
Because, yes, property prices have continued to go up, but if you overpaid by a lot because that's what it took to get something in that particular market, it's going to take you a while of owning it before you're going to be able to come out ahead.
And that's why we have such a healthy market here.
Correct.
We're, those of us who've lived here forever may not believe it, but our prices are still affordable.
Exactly. They've gone up a lot, but so has what we're earning and all the rest of the stuff. Like, there's one particular neighborhood when I was a brand new realtor 25 years ago. The neighborhood is in Northwest called Cimarron, and a lot of residents were buying over there in these new built new construction houses that DeWitt's was building.
Right.
And at the time we were selling them for, I think, about 70 to 75,000, depending on what features they had. And those same houses now 25 years older are selling for 300 or 3.25.
Yep.
Because things get more valuable.
Yep. You've always said that.
It is the way most Americans build their wealth is by owning real estate. I mean, it's just a proven fact.
The bank account you live in.
Mm-hmm. There you
All right,
go.
Robin.
Bank account you live in.
We do have to take a break. I understand you have somebody to introduce to us today.
I definitely do. I'm looking forward to it.
Okay. We'll come right back in just a moment. Robin Gwaltney, Gwaltney Group-RE results here at News Talk 1340, KROC AM and 96.9 FM.
We'll be right back with Robin Gwaltney and Andy Brownell on Rochester Real Estate. This is News Talk 1340, KROC AM and 96.4. Rochester Real Estate with Robin Gwaltney from Gwaltney Group-RE results and Andy Brownell on Rochester's News Talk 1340, KROC AM and 96.9 FM.
Welcome back. Robin Gwaltney, Gwaltney Group-RE results. News Talk 1340, KROC AM 96.9 FM. Robin, I know you mentioned it the last couple of weeks, and I saw on social media that his first official day on the job was, I believe, just this past Monday.
You're correct.
Another family member has joined Gwaltney Group.
That's right. Our eggs really are all in one basket now. I mean, I feel thrilled that Scott and I have worked together for the last 25 years. And for the past 8 years, we've had Jenna on the team. And now for the past 3 years, we've had Brett. So our two biological kids, Jenna and Brett, are both with us. And now Jenna's husband, Matt, has joined us. So we are literally all except Jordy working here. So, you know, Jordy's our mascot for sure, that cute little bugger. But we're super excited to have Matt working with us. And while he's getting started, you know, building his own clientele and stuff, he's working as my assistant. So you know how much fun it is to have my son-in-law working for me, and I can just boss him around all day, and he can't really say too much about it. I'm trying not to be too bossy. Anyway, I'll let you talk to Matt, let Matt introduce himself to everyone, and I think that a lot of people are going to be really excited to get to know Matt and to work with Matt.
All right, Robin. Good morning, Matt.
Good morning.
All right. Great to talk to you. I've heard a lot about you, and maybe to start out with, you can share with the audience a little bit about yourself and how you ended up working for the mother-in-law.
Yeah. So, I'm 34. I've been in Rochester my whole life. Graduated from John Marshall. I live in Orinoco now. I'm married with, a little 10-month-old Jordy. I've been with Jenna we've been married 8 years, but I've been with her for 19. So as you can imagine, I've heard a lot about real estate over the years. I've, learned through osmosis, and it just felt like, something I always thought in the back of my mind I would want to, at the very least, get into part-time at some point in my life, and got my license at the beginning of this year and was going to be doing, my corporate finance role and, whatever business I could potentially earn and do on the side. And this last week was actually my last day at IBM. My position was cut. So I am now going to be full-time in real estate, but I'm actually really excited to kind of make the jump and dive in full-time.
Well, you've been involved in this, as you said, almost 20 years now at some level. What's attractive for you, going into the real estate industry full-time? What I guess drives you to want to do this?
It's a couple of things. Just because I have been around it so long, and with Jenna and Brett and, obviously Robin and Scott being involved and me being around, I've gotten to know, and, I feel like I was almost a part of the team before I even had my license, just because I was always as a spouse, I was always at the team parties and a lot of the get-togethers. If there was happy hours or lunches, I was a part of a lot of that stuff. And so the first thing I think is just honestly, and I just love the energy and like how positive everybody is. Everybody's, it's a close-knit group. There's a lot of successful agents on the team, and everybody's like genuinely happy for everybody's success. And it's a contagious environment. So I'm excited to join that type of a team. And then, I had a good job. I liked what I was doing, but I am really excited to have the type of a job where, you kind of work for yourself. You have your own business, and it's one of those jobs where you can, what you put into it is what you can get out of it. So I'm really excited to, challenge myself and see what I can make it. And, knowing that the harder you work and, the smarter you get in the industry, the more you learn, things like that. If you're driven, you should be able to drive business results as well. You're not, just working for like a set salary or something like that. So the competitive side of me loves that. If you're willing to put in the effort, you should be able to, reap the rewards.
I imagine too, you mentioned you come from corporate finance. This will be more of a people business. You're going to have a lot more, I imagine. I'm not really familiar what you did in corporate finance, but I imagine there's going to be a lot more face-to-face, getting to know the people you're working with, situations. Is that something you're looking forward to?
Yeah, it actually is. In my last job, I was a pricer. So I assisted a sales team. We sold hardware and software infrastructure. And I would assist the sellers with getting their deals and helping them optimize the pricing, incentives, and things like that, and just doing what I can to try to help them win and, make the most competitive offer we can. But it was all, sitting at a desk, talking on the phone or a Zoom call or just exchanging emails. It wasn't any external communication with customers or clients. There wasn't any face-to-face with the sellers. It was all just, mostly in office or remote, over the computer or the phone. And I've always been told that I'm a good people person. I like all kinds of people. I can relate really well with pretty much anybody. And I've been told I like to tell stories and talk. So I'm actually excited to get involved in like the people and the face-to-face interactions and building relationships and, getting to know clients and becoming friends with clients, that type of thing.
I imagine Robin's mentioned that you're quite the number cruncher.
That's the finance joke, right? There's a spreadsheet for everything. I played baseball in college as well. And I've always, sports is one of my other main passions. And for whatever reason, numbers and statistics and things like that have always just stuck in my head.
But I'm just imagining again that if you're sitting down with either a buyer or a seller, having that ability to, have a grasp of the landscape number wise and be able to communicate that information, is going to be very useful.
Yeah, I think so. And I hope so. I think that can be something I could potentially add some extra value to. Before I was a pricer, I was a expense coordinator. So I did all kinds of budgeting and planning and resource allocations and things like that. So working with a large team and, helping them with their budgets and their yearly expense planning and looking at where we can optimize every dollar, save dollars, invest dollars, things like that.
Well, fantastic. It's been a pleasure talking to you, Matt, and I hope we can maybe talk again in the future. And good luck working all day with your mother-in-law.
Yeah, it's been good. I actually, there's nobody better to learn from, so I'm getting a crash course. That's
for sure. You can't imagine how much I've learned just doing the radio show with your mother-in-law, so it's been a pleasure. All right, Matt Miller, the newest member of Gwaltney Group-RE Results, and we'll return and talk a little bit more with Robin in just a moment on News Talk 1340, KROC AM and 96.9 FM.
We'll be right back with Robin Gwaltney and Andy Brownell on Rochester Real Estate. This is News Talk 1340 KROC AM and 96.com. Welcome back to Rochester Real Estate with Robin Gwaltney from Gwaltney Group-RE Results and Andy Brownell on Rochester's News Talk 1340 KROC AM and 96.9 FM.
Good morning. Thanks for joining us. Robin Gwaltney, Gwaltney Group-RE Results. Here at News Talk 1340 KROC AM 96.9 FM. All right, Robin. I always ask you during this time of our program if you have any listings.
I do. Like I told you at the very beginning, I've got a bunch of new ones coming. So stay tuned with my listings because we've got some really good listings coming on the market. But we've got some dandies on the market. You and I talked just briefly at the end of last week's segment about the two that we just listed in Rochester Towers, right downtown 207 Fifth Avenue. And I'm so excited because they got their problem fixed. They got everything remedied. The state has certified everything, and those are back to being a great place to live. The banks are very comfortable loaning against them because they know that whatever problem they had, has been taken care of. So that's great. And there is a large assessment, which is keeping a lot of buyers out of that building. But that is something that my seller in particular, I can't speak for all the sellers, but he's willing to negotiate that. So I think that's really important because a lot of people, don't know how they're going to be able to buy the property, pay the HOA, and deal with the assessment for those repairs.
So give you a call and
absolutely, because I have two of them in there for $245,000, and $245,000 is pretty darn affordable for a place that is real nice. That's walkable to downtown. You practically live on the Mayo campus.
Yeah, you are in downtown Rochester.
Yeah, you are. Yes, right in the middle of it all. I have a big, beautiful house at 910 Wicklow Lane Southwest. And this house is built in 2005, so it's 20 years old. But after the sellers moved out, they had their wood floors refinished. They had their walls, every single wall in the house painted. They had new garage doors put on because they had a few dings in the old ones. They had a new deck put on because the old one was, just not up to par. So they had a nice, beautiful maintenance-free deck put on. They changed some landscaping, put new exterior lights on the house. I mean, they really gave it a nice little refresh, and it shows really well. And it has 6 bedrooms. It has 3 garage stalls, plus it has a pre-stressed below the garage.
Oh, nice.
It has 5 bathrooms. It sits on a half acre in that very nice cul-de-sac out there on Wicklow Lane. And that house has just under 4,500 square feet finished, and that, of course, doesn't count the garage or the pre-stressed area. And it is listed for $1,200,000, so a lot of bang for the buck.
That's a big house, yeah.
Mm-hmm. And then we have 1184 Fox Hill Court. That's one of those famous Mark Hansen patio homes or townhomes. This one's actually connected to a side-by-side. But because there's only 2 connected, everybody is an end unit. It's 4 beds, 3 baths, 2-car garage. It is 3,736 square feet. So really similar to the size of my house. So, I mean, they're not small. When you say townhome, you think small. This is actually very big and very, very nice. And it is built in 2019, $790,000.
Okay.
I've got a big Pill Hill mansion, if anybody's looking, at 724 4th Street Southwest. And that one is $1,670,000.
This is the one right by Foundation House, right?
It's right across the street. 7 bedrooms, 7 bathrooms, so room for all the kids and then some. 6,623 finished square feet. Yeah, it's absolutely beautiful house. Really, really gorgeous. We have 1880 3rd Avenue Northwest. That's the, what is the name? River Bluffs. We have a place in there, 2-bedroom, 1-bath place. That one is, and it does come with a garage stall. That one is $259,900. We've got a little charmer of a house at 1004 8th Ave Northwest. This one's not big, but super cute. 3 bedrooms, 1 bathroom. It's got just under 1,500 square feet. It's a story and a half. Does not have a garage, which is why it's only $209,000. But it does have a place to build a garage with access to the street. So it wouldn't be that hard to get a garage.
Excellent.
I think I'm out of time.
Yeah.
Am I out of time?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we are.
All right. We'll save the rest for next week.
Thanks for you keeping track.
We'll save the rest for next week.
Okay. Sounds perfect, right. Robin. Thanks again for spending time with us, and we'll talk to you next Saturday.
It is always a pleasure. Thank you, Andy.
Well, before you go, you have to give us the phone number to get a hold of you.
Okay. In case
Because it
anybody
is
wants
the
to
perfect
call,
time to buy.
believe me, yeah, I'll be staying warm in the house the rest of the day, so I'll be there to take your calls. 507-259-4926. And as always, I really, truly look forward to your calls.
All right, Robin, thanks again. Robin Gwaltney, Gwaltney Group RE/MAX results here at News Talk 1340 KROC AM and at 96.